Jesus, I go and get a friggin' coffee and more news breaks. Yo, what's happening, friends? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, host Jan. I hope you lot are all doing well today. I really do hope that. Well, it's a financial fair play extravaganza, FFP. Ooh, we all know it's getting a bit wobbly around the pandemic. What's going to happen with financial fair play? Well, recent reports suggest it could be pretty much diminished. Roman Abramovich rubbing his hands together. Huge implications for Chelsea Football Club and indeed other clubs with rich benefactors. I'm going to go into that shortly. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel, Football Therapy, to keep you going through this international break where you need daily Chelsea content. Hit the bell notifications icon, incredibly important. And if you enjoy my content and you want to let me know, my dear friends, you can do that by dropping a like on this video. Thank you very much. Alright then, let's get into it. And our story today is regarding financial fair play. Right, a massive story, of course. Money and football go together like two things that go together well. When the world went post-apocalyptic and football stood still for a while, and even when it started going again, no fans were in the stadium, financial crisis in most industries in the world, but football was part of that. Journalists and reporters all spoke of how financial fair play may be bent, paused, changed somewhat to see football through this difficult and turbulent time, which of course benefits the likes of Chelsea Football Club. I'm going to be citing an article from Football.London to give you the lowdown on what's happening, tell you what the implications are for Chelsea Football Club and Roman Abramovich, but not only Chelsea, the likes of Manchester City as well, who are of course already the best team in England, which could cause concerns. Let's begin citing this article and crack into it. UEFA make financial fair play decision that will impact Arsenal, Chelsea and Tottenham transfers. Financial fair play regulations are set to become scrapped, with clubs gaining more freedom in the way they spend their money as a result. Wow, scrapped? Scrapped? This is huge. Let's read on. UEFA is reportedly set to scrap their financial fair play (FFP) system and replace it with new rules that will govern club finances. The new system will provide clubs with greater freedom over their spending power and have less control on how much clubs can invest in the transfer market before falling foul of regulations. Basically sounding really good. Clubs with rich benefactors like Roman Abramovich can spend more money freely without any concern of investigation. Sounds pretty darn good so far. Let's read on. The current FFP rules were introduced at the start of 2010-11 season, and after 10 years, UEFA are set to end the controversial system, according to the journalist Tancredi Palmeri. The Italian football reporter claims that the introduction of a new system will be announced as a replacement for FFP and will provide clubs much more freedom with their spending. Right, so there will be a replacement system as things stand. It's going to be a big positive move. Now, I think the main reason for this would be UEFA and the world of football trying to just allow clubs to funnel as much money as possible back into the industry as a whole. Of course, financial fair play came in for good reason and, tried to sort of level the playing field, but more importantly, it was introduced to prevent clubs from overspending beyond their personal means. So not necessarily getting ahead and cheating in leagues, but preventing themselves from going bankrupt. A sort of protective measure that was put in place. Now, before I read on, it's really worth mentioning at this point that Roman Abramovich reportedly was actually a big advocate of this financial fair play implementation in 2011 because at that point he was no longer the richest kid in the playground. Manchester City are of course owned by an entire state and have unlimited funds. Roman Abramovich is a billionaire, but he still has limited funds. Manchester City had unlimited. So at that point, Chelsea were already a well-established team in European football. Roman Abramovich said, yeah, okay, fine. We developed loads of money and legitimate funds as a club now. I don't need to put in my own money, and I don't want these guys spending as much as they want to come and buy the league, so I'm going to be all for it. Pretty much saying I don't want them doing what I did in 2004. So there is that looming in the air still. Let's read on. Chelsea spent big in last summer's transfer market, over 220 million on the likes of Timo Werner, Kai Havertz and Ben Chilwell. And any move to allow more freedom in transfer spending could see the Blues splash the cash once more without the threat of breaking UEFA's regulations. Yeah, I think actually Chelsea were already in a pretty promising position even still to make a decent moves in the summer. They were quite smart, they didn't necessarily know financial fair play was going to be scrapped. So they basically were smart financially. You can look into it a little bit more, but we weren't massively in the red. We got the Morata, Hazard money, we didn't spend over the ban, and Chelsea generated a lot of revenue. So I think even with FFP regulations, Chelsea was still planning to make a big bid for Erling Haaland and be okay in the sort of confines of financial fair play. Star players such as Erling Haaland are on the wish list of many clubs, and with less regulation on what clubs can spend, a bidding war for the 20-year-old could break out without fear of repercussions. Many of the game's wealthier clubs will welcome the news about financial fair play, and will no doubt be waiting with bated breath for further information about the, quote, new system of financial control, end quote. Right, so at this point there is a lot of speculation. It's just a sort of report coming out and news being recently broken, and there will be some form of implementation. I am speculating here when I say, personally, I theorize that they're doing this to inject more money into a game, into a really unstable landscape, post-pandemic. Do you know what I mean? So it's basically saying, all you super rich guys, put money back into the game, invest in the transfer market, make it big and fruitful again. Do you know what I mean? That's what I think. I'm not reporting that as fact, I'm just speculating here. So let's talk about it. Of course, Chelsea have a rich benefactor in Roman Abramovich. He's got a lot of money. He wants to spend a lot of money. We've learned that from last summer, and indeed recent kind of murmurings that he wants to invest again, make Chelsea a super powerhouse in European football, and he will think he has the ability to do that with Thomas Tuchel now at the helm. So it's positive in that sense, and to be honest, Chelsea might have been in a better position before, where financial fair play was maybe relaxed and Chelsea were in a strong financial position, taking advantage last summer and maybe being able to take advantage again before this new news broke. Now let me explain. Manchester City were in trouble with UEFA. Of course, there was the big lawsuit regarding financial fair play, them breaching regulations, Man City eventually winning the court case and it all being dropped, but they still had to tread lightly while FFP still existed, and Chelsea didn't necessarily have to tread lightly. So Chelsea were in a position of power at that point going into this summer. But now, if this report is to be believed and FFP is scrapped, suddenly the power goes back to Manchester City, who, like I said, have unlimited funds in terms of their ownership, much more than Chelsea Football Club. And that is concerning because they are already the best team in England by a long shot. Chelsea have been very good under Tuchel, and beginning of the next season when everyone's on 0 points, who knows how well Tuchel could do in the league. But they are super good, Manchester City, and if FFP is scrapped and they're allowed to bring in loads more excellent players, and obviously that court case with UEFA's washed away, no rules now, they can do what they want, that's actually causing bigger problems for Chelsea than good. And it kind of goes back to 10, 11 years ago where Roman Abramovich was actually endorsing financial fair play to come in. So it's interesting, it's exciting in the sense of Chelsea can pull away from a lot of clubs. Just because you'll be allowed to spend a lot doesn't mean Manchester United will spend a lot with the Glazers. They like taking money out of the club. They won't necessarily want to invest loads because they're allowed to. Do you know what I mean? Similarly with other sort of London clubs, Tottenham, they've had the new stadium, they won't necessarily want to put loads of money into transfers. Arsenal, do they have that much money? I'm concerned about the clubs that do have money and are now allowed to spend. So those clubs should be concerned both about Chelsea Football Club and Manchester City. Us as Chelsea fans, Chelsea Football Club should be excited with the ability to spend big, but also be terrified of Man City going even further away. An amazing coach, an amazing squad, amazing season, but pulling away even further with unlimited spend. That prospect is a little bit daunting. I will of course keep you all updated on this story as it progresses, as more information comes out about it. So make sure you keep it locked here on Football Therapy with the bell notification switched on if you want to subscribe. If you've enjoyed this content, drop a like if you want more of course. Comment your thoughts, feelings and emotions about this down below. I'll be down there reading your comments. So let me know what you think. Other than that, see you soon, tomorrow probably. Enjoy the football, and I'll see you later.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, baby.